You know what? I regret going back to music because as soon as we leave, we get back into this game. Baby Knight's going to play on the high ping. Unfortunately, there is not going to be a remake for Princess Jellopy, but still this game will commence. It's a best of one between XPC Romania and Princess Jellopy. Whoever wins this is secure to stay in the GameShow Global Esports Cup. The GLHF will come out from both sides, and whoever loses will have another game ahead of them very shortly. So, moving on. Baby Knight's going to pull this tangos. He buys his items as he would normally, and hopefully this doesn't impact the game too much as everybody goes out to the lanes. And now, to reorient everybody, let's introduce our teams. Beaver's going to be playing in the Undying, partnered up with Kefka in the offlane, who is going to be handling the Night Stalker. Solon right now is here with the Tusko, though I'm sure one of these heroes will leave the lane eventually. Baby Knight will handle the mid-Shadow Fiend and offlane, or rather safe lane. Excuse me, Jellopy will be making a reprise performance on his gyrocopter.
Okay, playing on the side of XPC, who is going to be on the dire side up towards the top lane. We have Illusionist playing on our Scarlet Mage. His partner in crime is going to be Masakari playing on the Wraith King. And towards the Rune, we're going to have
Razevan?
Sorry?
Razevan?
I guess that's fine. On the Jakiro. Kino playing on the Wind Ranger, who's actually going to get caught out here. He's going to have to pop the Wind Run, so unfortunately not able to go for any other skills for this level 1, but what the hell, they're still going to survive. And finally, got 3-2-2 playing on the Clockwork yet again. And for people that have managed to catch the first game for XPC, the 3-2-2 knows how to play Clockwork. So keep an eye on this guy. He really knows how to land those hook shots.
Synergy is very adept on the hero, and he even gets the bounty rune too, which under normal circumstances is good for your offlane. This situation, it might be really good. Having the level advantage over the gyrocopter will help him out a truck ton, and he's going to cogs block back the creep wave to make sure it's a little bit more in his favor. This lane is not a bad one by any means for Clockwork, although gyrocopter still should have an edge. We have a disconnect coming out from the Jakiro.
Yeah, I think at this point, we might be having a lot of issues now.
What do we do? I mean, XPC Romania insisted that we play on this server.
Exactly. So,
that's a cheeky wink.
Exactly. Well, so things happened, and I think we all understand why. So I think we'll stick with that. We can't really do anything. We're casters, right? We can comment, but we're going to keep it mild.
Yep, very well. Well, he's going to reconnect. The good to go calls out from Illusionist, and everything will commence. But as far as this mid lane matchup is concerned, right now Keanu is doing quite well on the Wind Ranger. He has 3 denies. Although this is coming at the sacrifice of a couple of his own CS, that's fine. It's more important that he shuts down this Shadow Fiend. And Keanu's doing quite well for himself. Shadow Fiend only has the 1 soul. I don't think either of these heroes should be dying anytime soon, however, so we'll take a look over at our side lanes, which should have a lot more action. Beaver on the end dying combined with Kefka on the Night Stalker is very annoying and very hard to deal with if they can isolate one of these supports. But right now the pull wasn't blocked out, or if it was blocked out, it was de-warded by the Dire Sentry that's placed by that tree. The box is actually right about here and extends over to... Oh, I overdrew the box, but pretty much that. It's the ballpark. You get the idea. Still, it doesn't block and was able to take out that ward. And now they're going to have to deal with these constant pulls that are pretty hard for them to contest until they get higher levels on the Undying and the Night Stalker. Right now, only level 1 apiece, although they probably could kill Illusionist. The Jakiro and Skyrath Mage actually have equal to more experience than this offlane dual lane, which for now isn't accomplishing its goal of putting pressure on the Wraith King or of getting kills on the supports.
What are your thoughts on putting Beaver in the top lane with Kefka instead of putting the Tusk Solon up there? I feel like Tusk would have been able to accomplish much more than Beaver is, unless they're expecting lots of dives onto Kefka. Then I can understand why you'd put an Undying here. He's very good at being a defensive hero, but under these circumstances, they can't really kill any of these supports.
Right now, difference is very little, because the Tusk would also be sitting on the same level of experience as the Undying, given this spot, and a level 1 Tusk wouldn't be doing that much, but a Hasted Skyrath might. He's going to look for the wraparound, maybe onto the Shadow Fiend, probably looking for a Courier snipe. Skyrath Mage, under normal circumstances, would be able to get the Courier about now, but Shadow Fiend's a little bit behind. This rotation, and from the Skyrath Mage, has not been spotted at all. The Haste Rune wasn't... watched, and since the Wind Ranger isn't leaving the lane, maybe they expect the Skyrath Mage to have picked up the rune and might be thinking that he's going to go for this Courier play, but let's see if it pays off. The Bottle Gold will be there from the Shadow Fiend, but yeah, they're going to kill off the Gyrocopter. He's isolated by Synergy. That's a nice kill onto Jellopy.
That's beautiful, and it's a solo offlane clockwork. That is never supposed to happen, especially when you have a hero's numbers advantage in that lane. So for 3-2-2 to get that kill, it's huge. You're shutting down the gyrocopter, you're getting that level 6 a little bit quicker on your clockwork, and that means that he's going to come online sooner, and this courier. Oh, rest in peace,
dead.
Mr. Courier.
That's the
so
bottle
dead.
taken away too. That's a huge deal. Under normal circumstances, a courier snipe is bad, but that courier snipe is worse. Shadowfiend is already pretty even in this matchup. He needs his bottle to spam out those raises and to do well in general. That's a first blood for XPC Romania on their Clockwork of all heroes, who's now level 5, 3.5 minutes into the game, and the bottle snipe away from the Shadowfiend. I really think they should have expected the bottle snipe, or at the very least, expected the Skywrath Mage to be doing something fishy. He hadn't shown in lane top for at least a minute and a half, and they didn't have the vision on that top rune spot. Shadowfiend is forced to go all the way back to base in order to fill up his mana. This is going to give Wind Ranger a huge advantage. She has her bottle, she has her boots, and Shadowfiend has nothing, really.
Yeah, nothing till the courier comes back in. First nighttime. Now, I want to see if Princess Jellopy wants to try and go for a jump here with Kefka, but I feel like at this point maybe they just use this as a defensive nighttime. Just continue to get those levels on both your Undying as well as your Night Stalker. Wait for the secondary nighttime, and then maybe that's when the action's going to happen, because as you said, Shadowfiend's already running at a disadvantage. Down bottom is not going to be a nice story either, as the gyrocopter has died as well. Do they play defensively this nighttime just to somehow catch up to XPC?
They kind of have to, but defensive play isn't going to catch them up yet. They need to get more levels on the Shadowfiend, or at the very least more stacks for him. Right now their jungle isn't stacked up at all, and that's one of the disadvantages of going for this aggressive dual lane. Not only is it not accomplishing its goal of getting kills or stopping the Wraith King from farming, in fact it's the Wraith King's farming up a storm. He's the top last hits inside this game. It also means that there's one less body in order to go for those stacks. Snowball in mid onto Keanu. Not going to do much of anything outside of making sure that Baby Knight doesn't die. It accomplishes its goal, but isn't enough to bring this lane back to any sort of advantage for the SF. His CS isn't terrible by any means, and he is waiting out this time for the bottle nicely, but the Wind Ranger has much more killing potential. Clockwork, whoops. Now up towards top lane, they're going to look for the dive on Illusionist. They don't have the Void to cancel his TP. He's going to get out safely. And now they're going to look for the Jakiro, but can't quite find it. Nobody will die. Nice TP.
So about the GG, well played.
That was a chat wheel error.
I know that's a chat wheel error, but I know some tournaments that take it seriously, and if you say it at all, you GG out. And
there is no admin in this game apparently, so...
Yeah, I think the admin probably doesn't even know. If the admin was there, then maybe it could have happened, but Jakira unable to TP out, so that's going to be a kill going in the way of Beaver on the Undying, and they're going to try and jump on the Massacre here. Not level 6, he's level 4. Going to have to throw out the stun onto Beaver. No dive here by these heroes yet, and I think it's a smart idea not to go for it, because there could be potential TPs in.
And even without TPs? He has 9 charges, but there's the hook shot. They catch out the Tusk, but he's able to snowball to the creep wave. Tusk should be just fine. They don't have another way to get in range. Nice try coming out from XPC Romania, but that's a very low probability kill when the creep wave's that close. They'll try for the dive on Massacre, but he does have a 9 charge stick and also a salve. So diving into this Wraith King just by itself is very difficult, but mid lane, Baby Knight, the power shot's going to miss, but the double damage Wind Ranger might just be able to kill off just the same. And Keanu now has a commanding lead in this lane. Although the CS is pretty close, 35 to 11, 36 and 11 compared to 26 and 5 now on the Shadowfiend. Although that's not a big disparity, the solo kill and the courier snipe really has meant so much. And if nothing else, the Shadowfiend's feeling bad about his lane, even if he's not doing terribly by any means. He has high ping, the morale is not going to be there for Baby Knight.
Yeah, and Jellopy might actually be wrapped around if he's not careful, but it looks like the Skywrath Mage not really going to go for any sort of commitment there as of yet. I think they would have been able to kill him, but maybe they're worried about there being support, because there's some heroes that aren't actually on the map as of yet. The Tusk is still heading into the mid lane, whereas the Undying's hiding behind Kefka. So they're probably afraid that the Tusk could be behind the gyrocopter and that they could get caught out by it. So they're playing cautiously and they're still playing safely for the moment.
Yeah, across the board, XPC Romania are getting an advantage on all of their lanes when it comes to the net worth they've picked up, especially due to the kills on the Clockwork. The calldown's there, and the Rocket Barrage is also going to do a lot of damage, but point-blank hookshot, Jellopy dropping low. Can they get this kill? The secondary Rocket Barrage will kill him off, and now Illusion is also taking creep waves. Rocket Barrage is no joke, ladies and gentlemen. The gyrocopter rips apart too. As XPC Romania, I don't think there's any other way to put it other than that they underestimated the damage Jellopy was able to do.
That was huge, and that's amazing for Jellopy. Considering he gave away first blood, that's a nice small recovery. It's going to boost his farm as well. He's already sitting at about 700. He buys out the Belt of Strength. It looks like he's just going to go straight for his treads. Nothing big as of yet, but it helps out the gyro. It means he's going to come online.
Night Stalker going in mid. The Shadow Fiend lands, raises with that Void and the Snowball coming in from the side. They'll kill him off easily, and the TP will be cancelled. They have a Tombstone down the ground. You don't want to fight these 4 heroes by any means, but what you do want to do is get some pressure on the tier 1 tower up towards top in the meantime. But that's going to be stopped as Kefka comes in.
Yeah, Kino going to be coming back into the mid lane, it seems, but up top, we're going to see some action up here. There's level 6 on Masakri here, so he's going to have the reincarnation if they do decide to try and kill him. The ideal target here, though, would be the Jakiro. He has boots and everything, even though he's a little bit tanky. He's only sitting at about 500 HP right now because he took a little bit of a beating. And there's 3 heroes here as well if Baby Knight wants to try and help out with this gank. So this should be a very, very solid gank, unless XPC comes up with a lot of rotation. So, for example, a counter.
This is a hasted Shadow Fiend. They're going in now. They'll open up with the Decay onto Massacre. The Ice Path's going to delay. It is a level 2 Ice Path. They don't want to walk into it. Wraith Barbas will be thrown onto Baby Knight. Not taking any damage, was able to avoid, and now is going to look for the initiation, but a nice Shackle catches the 2 heroes. Baby Knight as well as Beaver taking a lot of damage. It's only a level 1 Shackle, or level 2 Shackle, excuse me, so it's not doing that much, but it's more than enough to set up the kill on the Shadow Fiend. They'll catch Beaver as well with a nice Ice Path to follow up and farm the Tombstone as an extra bit of gold income. And now Clockwork, looking in mid, goes for the hookshot, catches out Soul and pulls him into the cogs. There's a snowball, however, out to the creeps. It looks like he is going to still survive here, although the battery assault's still ticking. Clockwork is going to try to juke through. The power shot's going to miss. The Tusk is playing this as well as he can. Now with the call down, looking for the turnaround. Rocket Brush again, going to be Clockwork's undoing if he's not careful. Solin's going to punch him once, has some stick charges, and does have a mango. Can use the snowball in 2 seconds, but Clockwork's too far away. Looking for the TP, will succeed. Is up towards top lane. They're going for the Jakiro. He'll turn for the Ice Path. Beaver's going to join the fray as well as Kefka runs forward for Razevan. With the boots, the Jakiro's going to look for another Ice Path and TP. At the very least, they force out a TP for the one that they spent on the Undying to get him back into the lane. What a mess across the map. The kill score ends up being 4-4.
Yeah, pretty even for both sides. Not really convincing for anyone as of yet. There's no major lead for any of these teams, is there? It's pretty even, aside from XPC having a minor net worth lead, but one team fight could just turn that back into the middle, honestly.
The biggest change is where that gold's distributed. Right now, the Wind Ranger is leaps and bounds ahead when it comes to net worth compared to the Gyrocopter and Shadow Fiend. So I think that minor lead for XPC means a little bit more, whereas they're going to trade that for about 500 gold on the Undying, which will get him his full magic wand, and a little bit of extra gold on their Tusk compared to the Jakiro. But all things considered, I think I'd rather have the farmed Wind Ranger and the Wraith King.
Yeah, absolutely. So now in this kind of position, what does Princess Jellopy actually do? Do they start to fall back to a more defensive style? Do they need to start fighting
At least
more?
for a minute.
I feel like Jellopy, the Gyrocopter, is ready to fight now. He's done so well so far. He might be ganked though. We've got our Clockwork as well as a Wind Ranger as well. They really want to shut down this Gyrocopter, and honestly, this is the right decision. Skywrath Mage in the meantime in the top lane, just going to get decimated, and here come the counter TPs, but where's the reinitiation?
Tusk is going to bump into the Jakiro. Night Stalker's looking for the full wraparound. He might find it. There's a hookshot from the Clockwork, but not a great angle, and he doesn't want to go on the Tusk. I don't think that would work. The Ice Shards are going to wall off Kefka from this kill. They have no way to eat through those trees, but with the snowball, they'll get him over them. Razevan's going to die, but they're going very deep for this. In fact, Razevan might survive. They need another Void, but with the bounce back in the Wraith Fire Blast, Kefka can't quite get it. And that's going to be 5-5 our kill score. Another Shards. Razevan lives on 5 HP. This Jakiro is Undying, and well, the real Undying's on the backside of this fight as they look for a Shackle onto Baby Knight. Focus Fire is there, doesn't do a lot of damage, but a long range, max range Ice Path onto Baby Knight. That was beautifully done, and he still lives to the zombies. Jakiro, go home, you've done your work, and it was miraculous for XPC Romania. That's 2 kills on pretty crucial targets.
At moments like that, you wish you had a Zeus, but anyways, any sort of global aid, any sort of global...
Or Invoker, anything, kill that stupid Jakiro. That Ice Path was great.
Absolutely, it was icing on the cake for XPC. It's just kind of like a kick in the gut for Princess Jellopy, just saying, hey, this is what you get for not killing me.
Kefka, do you get this courier? Let's see. In the meantime, there's a fight. Kefka is going to look for the courier. Can't quite find it over the trees as they lose their gyrocopter, chasing for so long. He's silenced up, but not for much longer. Still has no spells to cast, even if he isn't amped up by that ancient seal. It's going to be 2 kills for XPC Romania. They really needed that courier snipe to make that left-hand fight worth it, and Kefka was just 1 shot away from it. He was waiting. They had a vision for it, but now they slow down Baby Knight. Hook shots there. They open up the ways for this clockwork. Beautifully done coming out from XPC Romania, as it was like the Red Seas parting as they open ways for synergy, and he's able to jam that one home very nicely. That's now 5-9 the kill score, and XPC are getting momentum where I thought this was Princess Jellopy's nighttime and their time to shine with their heroes, but the levels that the Clockwork is able to get, and the farm for the Wind Rangers meaning so much. This Wind Ranger is level 11. That's ridiculous. She's 3-0-4. And setting up so much for her team, and also in general this Ice Path build, although it's not something we see very often from Jakiros, is working out for Razevan because they're in general just on point, smoking up. XPC Romania want to keep up this momentum. Usually the second nighttime is where Nightstalker really starts to spread his wings and look for those kills, but he's really not able to be involved in much. Although by no means is Kefka playing poorly. I think he's doing what he can. That's not very much because of how disruptive XPC are, and now the smoke might end up catching them some more kills.
Oh, they should be able to get this. Now, who are they going to go for first? Where are they going to check? They actually check the first. They just go for a power shot first. I actually know where Baby Knight is, I believe, in Clockwork. He sees him now. He's got a hook shot available.
No, they don't see him. It's nighttime.
Oh, they don't? Oh, no. That was so close as well. That wasn't even the artificial nighttime. It was the normal nighttime. Kefka just popped the artificial night.
Yeah, that's really awkward. If that was daytime, that gank 100% works. I don't think Clockwork would have been juked away from that. But they guess incorrectly. They go for the power shot over the small camp instead of the large camp, so they don't know instantly where he is. That's a bit awkward. Had that gank come into a different timing window, maybe it works out for them. But Shadow Fiend able to slip into the shadows, and Clockwork unwilling to waste his long hook shot cooldown. At this point, it is fairly important. Although I think it would have been fun to see him go for it and land it, I can understand the hesitance since he doesn't know for sure that there's a Shadow Fiend there. I'm not even sure if they spotted him once. Although they know he was farming around that area, I think they saw a raise. I don't think they saw the Shadow Fiend.
I can't help but feel like they did clip him a tiny bit.
I think they did too.
Yeah, but then after that they just lost vision of him completely. I think that was pretty much it, but down bottom though. Well, this could be a very sad beaver, and he is going to be spotted, unfortunately, so Kino going to come in with the wind run. Shackle shot, Ice Path doesn't hit, but he's going to die anyway. Undying, you're going to die today. Easy pick up there for XPC, and they're going to go for this tower as well, and looks like Princess Jellopy, they can't defend the tower. If they try and TP into this, it's going to be into an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, and now the rest of her heroes are going to group up mid, or at least the Clockwork Skywrath are, to catch out Princess Jellopy. If they hookshot in, they get the silence onto anybody, they're dead. He doesn't throw the hookshot, he's deciding which target to go on, decides onto Baby Knight, and they're going to catch his Shadow Fiend. The cooldown's on the ground and will do a lot of damage, but the Blade Mail will return a little bit of that too, and they just don't quite have enough to finish off this Clockwork. Tower denied by the Wind Ranger, and I believe that's her full Aghanim Scepter, and if not, it's very close. She needs 20 gold for it, she'll get that as she's walking back towards base. The Nightstalker is split pushing up towards top as much as he can, but this is not how you envision a Nightstalker pick panning out. That second nighttime, it did hardly anything at all for Princess Jellopy. Nightstalker is 2-1-1, and it's not like he's getting a massive amount of farm either. It's just the Nightstalker getting as much as he can. Right now the biggest issue for them is neither the Gyrocopter nor the Shadow Fiend had a good laning stage, and a lot of that does come down to how they laned it and what their last pick was. The Undying felt a little bit awkward. If they just stuck with the Tusk as well as the Gyrocopter up in the top lane and the Tusk and the Nightstalker, excuse me, in the off lane, and then pick up a different support to protect the Gyrocopter against the clock, maybe things would be looking differently, but that's just not how this game goes. But Jakiro's item build, very interesting. Hold that thought. Illusion's caught out by Jellopy. Easy kill, even if the cooldown doesn't connect. Now looking for the TP. Do they have the hook shot? They're not going to try for it through fog, although I think they kind of knew he was TPing there. Again, this Clockwork, he's playing a little bit more reserved, and it's working out for him. He's 4-1-4. Synergy's been playing well this game, don't get me wrong here. But yeah, back to Jakiro's item build. It's a Veil Rush.
Yeah, on the top lane. I think Baby Knight's going to get hooked here by the Clockwork. They have vision of him. Is the Ice Path going to be there? There is no TP up from Baby Knight. I think he's expecting this. He's actually on a cooldown, so never mind. Baby Knight gets picked off. There's a lot of emphasis being thrown onto Baby Knight. They're just completely shutting him down on the Shadow Fiend that he's got nothing. He is trying to build a Yasha.
Yeah,
a
he's
cheap
0, 6, and 1.
item. Exactly. So XPC, I think they were watching the previous game. They saw how strong Baby Knight is as a player and how if you give him farm and give him space, he can actually be a complete and utter menace. So they're shutting him down. But this is giving space to Jellopy on the gyrocopter. So it looks like Jellopy is going to be that ray of sunshine for Princess Jellopy, but is it going to be enough though? I feel like the gyrocopter needs a lot more than a Shadow Fiend will to really come online and to do something in these fights.
And
Because it's
compare
just
his
not
farm.
the standard stuff, like the standard farming gyro items, nothing like gank-oriented items.
Yeah, it's much less smashy than the items that the Wraith King are building. Wraith King is building, excuse me. But yeah, he has Blink and Blade Mail on the Wraith King. This is going to allow him to get into the middle of the fray, initiate, and do a lot of work for the team. Whereas for the Gyrocopter, this is, as you said, just more of a farming style build. Although Helm is a very cost-efficient item, especially when you find yourself a good creep. It's not going to allow them to fight nearly as well as XPC are, especially considering the fact that Gyrocopter is the only one that's really keeping up. The Wind Ranger is leaps and bounds ahead of her lane opponent. She has the full Ags, and now has an Aegis the Immortal on top of that, as they pick up a double damage rune and take that Roshan very swiftly. Feels like all of the momentum is in XPC Romania's side, and Princess Jellopy don't have the greatest of heroes to play from behind. This Tombstone coming up and dying is going to die so very fast, although right now I believe they're using the Tombstone to farm Ancients. That's probably the best usage of it, and it's going to accelerate the farm a little bit, but not enough. If this were XPC Romania, on the backlines, at least they have a Clockwork Skyrath Mage combo to fall back on, but if Tusk goes in by himself, there's no long-range way to follow that up, and Tusk's burst damage just isn't enough. He's a support Tusk, he's level 7, although, again, Tusk isn't playing poorly, there aren't openings.
Yeah. So, unfortunately for Princess Jellopy, I feel like their only opening is when the high ground push comes from XPC, which they're going to do a little bit of damage to the tower, but they're not going to fully commit because they're running a Jakiro who can just slowly chew away at the tower with the liquid fire. And they also have Kino on this Wind Ranger with an Aegis, so if you kill with Kino, it's fine. He has a secondary life and his team's going to be there to back him up. So not really the best situation for Princess Jellopy to really jump onto XPC. But if they could pick everyone off on the backlines and then finish up those heroes such as Kino as well as the Wraith King, then I feel like it'll be a better situation because you're dealing with heroes that won't have buyback and pretty much the supporting cast, which helps these heroes get these kills. But the issue is though, can they kill them off and not die? Because Wind Ranger's doing a crap load of damage. You get caught by Skyrath Mage once with a Mystic Flare and you're gone as well.
Yeah, this is very difficult. As long as XPC Romania played this safely, I think they're fine. Although if you give the Shadow Fiend Gyrocopter another completed item on top of what they have, they're going to be absolutely terrifying. Getting that item is very hard. Very, very hard for their team. One of the sad things about this game, at least for me, is the fact that Skyrath Mage, I don't think he's had that great of an impact, or at least a lot less than I would have liked to see. Comboed up with the Clockwork can get a lot of kills, but right now, speaking of getting kills, Kiana's going to get jumped, Walrus Punch is there, and they're going to lock her in place, bring down the Aegis. Now can they get anything afterwards? They're standing in the Macro Pyre, the Requiem's going to be unwound right on Kiana's face, and with that full Requiem, or close to full Requiem damage, they'll be able to kill her off and now look for Raise Van, but the Shadow Fiend on the backline's being assassinated by Massacre. The Hasted Clockwork also coming in, as Synergy is going to look for some kills on the retreat. They'll lose their Skyrath Mage. Poor guy was way too squishy, but now Jellopy is here with no way of getting out. Kefka's around the corner. They have the Tusk, and maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe they can help Jellopy, but the damage is too much, and Synergy secures it with the Flare. Kefka will run towards, but that's a hasted clock. They'll get the Walrus Punch to take down the ultimate from the Wraith King, but Massacre will be able to very quickly blink out. Getting out of that is fairly easy for the Wraith King, and he'll be able to retreat. Still, that's a reasonable fight if you're on the side of Princess Jellopy. But it's not a great fight either. It's really good for this Night Stalker, as he's going to find himself with what looks like a Hand of Midas again. I think he probably just needs the golden acceleration so he can find the Agnum Scepter. But the Shadow Fiend and the Gyrocopter both down, are both down. They get a net gain of gold, sure, but you really would have liked to have items, especially on the Shadow Fiend, who just now picks up his SNY. It's not terrible by any means, but Shadow Fiend usually is ahead at this point by nature of how fast he flash farms.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate as well, the circumstances that Baby Knight is currently dealing with, but honestly, this guy, he's doing very well considering the circumstances. He's still very self-sufficient, he knows he needs the farm, so he's going to find it wherever he can. He dies during team fights, it's going to happen, and unfortunately with the amount of farm he has, he's quite easy to pick off. In the top lane, there's a lot of heroes here for XPC, but everyone on the side of Princess Jellopy is already gone. Clockwork wants to get into position to grab somebody, but I don't think he's going to be able to find anyone, unfortunately. He will go to the secret shop and hang around for a little bit, but without vision, he can't really get any of those proper hook shots. And without an Aghanim Scepter, he's not going to be able to throw it out freely as of yet. He's going to get pretty close, though.
Yeah, right now they're fishing, but XPC Romania don't see anybody on the map except for the Shadow Fiend. And the Radiant team don't see anybody except for the Jakiro, but they get the hook shot onto the SF. He's diving into a lot of heroes, however. That Clockwork goes really aggressively in, but it's bailed out by the Jakiro with that Ice Path Macro Fire. The fight's breaking out with a Walrus Punch, and Jakiro and Clockwork will die. Jellopy will find himself the double kill, looking for the TP cancel on Illusionist. They don't have the Void for 2 seconds, wouldn't have been able to do that, and now they're going to try to catch out the Wraith King. He's able to blink TP, he's just fine, no way to cancel that one, but that was a really awkward jump from the Clock. I was about to say that Clockwork's not going to jump in there because he expects the entire enemy team to be behind the Shadow Fiend. I looked at the vision right before that fight, and they saw nobody except for Baby Knight. I'm sure they thought that the rest of the team was farming inside the woods. There's no other reason to make that jump, and it's going to end up being punished. That was really awkward for XPC Romania without having wards anywhere on the map. Although, on the retreat, they do place one behind themselves that would have spotted out a wraparound. Now, Princess Jellopy, with a couple of pickoffs, find themselves with a new lease on life, especially with this Gyrocopter, who's now at the top of the net worth chart. Although, fighting for that slot with the Wraith King as he mops up a couple of creeps is still on par.
Yeah, this Gyrocopter. Let's compare this Gyrocopter to the last game. Last game's Gyrocopter was an absolute disaster. He came online super late. He was shut down for the majority of the game. He was pretty much the Baby Knight of last game. He was just shut down, could not find farm, he was dead. This time, Jellopy actually gets to have a little bit of spotlight this game, whereas Baby Knight's going to be the one to play catch up. And if Jellopy can actually make space for the Shadow Fiend here, then come late game, Jellopy's going to be that monstrous Gyrocopter compared to a Wind Ranger, and a Gyrocopter can do so much more in these team fights. No lockdown, but AoE damage.
Speak of that lockdown.
Well, just melts down the Undying with the help of the Scarif Mage as well, but it's a double damage Wind Ranger. She would have been able to get it solo anyway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they, under different circumstances, they had the Clockwork a little bit closer by, could have been able to get the Shadow Fiend afterwards. That was a really nice angle coming out from the Wind Ranger, and they're still getting those pickoffs. I'll disagree that the Gyrocopter is going to be able to do more than the Wind Ranger. Inside these fights, it's just a different type of damage. Wind Ranger's single target DPS, once she has the Daedalus on top of what she has already, or if she finds another double damage rune, is much greater than anything the Gyrocopter can do. That said, the spread damage once Gyrocopter gets 6-slotted is a lot better with Flat Cannon. They scale in a much different fashion. So for pickoffs, XPC Romania will still have the lead, and they're going to look for the Shackle. Latches to the creep, weirdly enough, but yeah, Ping's out coming out from Kiana. That was the weirdest angle I've seen in a while. And that's saying something. We've seen a lot of Wind Ranger lately. I think XPC Romania can still comfortably take this game late, but they didn't want to be in the situation where they had to. They really wish that Baby Knight was still completely shut down, because despite starting out 1-6, he's managed to come back into this when it comes to farm, compare his net worth to that of the Wind Ranger, and it's very, very close. Only the 400 gold difference, which could change in the course of just one pickoff or a couple minutes of farm for the Shadow Fiend, where Wind Ranger's looking for a pickoff unsuccessfully.
Yeah, so we're about 25, getting close to about the 30-minute mark for both teams. Now, item progression for both sides. We've got a medallion on our Tusk here, so he's going to be working his way towards a Solar Crest, I presume. BKB is coming up on our Baby Knight here, so he's going to be able to have some more survivability for the team fights. He needs it. This guy's been shut down and locked down just because of shackle shots for the majority of the game, and also ice paths have been super annoying for him too, so he needs this. Gyrocopter needs it as well. So for Princess Jellopy, the whole team, they're getting very good item progression. Kefka's getting close to the Aghanim Scepter. They need this vision, because once they have it, then unfortunately XPC can't go for these cute little plays. Kino down towards the south section, hiding in the tree line, and he's going to try and jump onto the Night Stalker, it seems, but there's too many heroes here, and he doesn't know they're here as well.
I think they spotted a couple of them walking through the woods with this ward that's deep on enemy lines. So, well, now that they back off, they show the Shadow Fiend top, so he's going to feel a lot more comfortable to go for this Kefka pickup. But with the mechanism, he's going to survive. Can Keanu get out safely? That rocket does a lot of damage, and the zombies are going to start wailing on him. Keanu is going to survive, and now brings in the Wraith King, who has a freshly acquired Basher. But yeah, going for that is almost exclusively because they showed the Shadow Fiend top. He was waiting until they make a move, and until Keanu has that appropriate vision, won't leap for it. He's not going to be punished, but he also doesn't get the kill. The end cost for that is just a couple of rotations from either side. And XPC Romania are going to have control around the Roshan pit, at least for the next couple of seconds. It's not enough for them to take it, however, and there's a fresh BKB on this gyrocopter that's going to be flying out. The BKB status on Shadow Fiend is actually done. Wow, okay, Baby Knight has eclipsed the Wind Ranger in farm because she didn't get that Night Stalker pickoff. As I said, just a little bit of time where Shadow Fiend's farming, the Wind Ranger isn't, will allow Baby Knight to catch back up, and now he has that magic immunity. His items are looking very similar to that of Jellopy, but once either of them builds into some damage, their chances to take these fights are so much better, and now they have the Aghanim Scepter 2 on Night Stalker. You're not going to see a similar leap in power for a long time for Princess Jellopy, as they're getting so many of these major pickups. But one of the things that is keeping XPC Romania in the advantage in some of these fights is the fact that they do have really good aggressive vision set up across the map, whereas the same can't really be said for Radiant side. Called down in the pit, they expect them to be doing it, not the case. Power Shot catches vision, will the Clockwork make the jump? He's thinking about it, he's going to go in, catches up Beaver as well as Solon. The cogs onto both of them, the defensive snowball is going to bring them back into the middle of this fight. Walrus Punch, they bring in the Skywrath Mage very easily. Masquerade, not returning any damage because of the BKB on Jellopy, but still has the ultimate to fall back on. Wraithing's going to be coming back for the second life, but Racevan not so lucky. Rocket Barrage, and they're going to demolish the Jakiro. Wind Ranger can't get back into this engagement as they'll try to chase forward for the Wraith King. Wraith King has managed to TP his way back home, and now this is a time for Princess Jellopy to go in the Roshan pit. Again, it's a fight where XPC Romania just didn't have the appropriate follow-up, and the Clockwork gets a little bit ahead of himself, similar to what we saw in the top lane. They know this Roshan is going down, but can Wind Ranger try to make a steal play for this? I don't think so. Ugh, she's thinking about it.
Tries. Oh, she could actually get caught out here. She's actually stuck in the ice shard.
They cancel the blink.
Oh, they want to kill Kino right here, and this might be the end of him. Silence up. Mystic Flare's going to be there to do a little bit of damage there to Beaver, but oh, the rocket. I think this rocket's the end of Kino. Nope, blink out. A couple more hits, the rocket should die. Unless the rocket's too fast, it's fine. It's dead. Kino won't die, but this bottom tower will, and so will Roshan. So that's a huge advantage to Princess, well, to Princess Jellopy, honestly. You get the Aegis, you get 3 kills, you almost kill the Wind Ranger. That's a lot of map control, and also map confidence gone by XPC. And it's really scary too, because as you said, this leap of power is huge for Princess Jellopy. They've been on the back foot for the majority of this game, but now could you say that they're not even, but they've taken over XPC in terms of
they're
control.
in advantage by every metric, I want to say. Net worth is in their lead, experience is in their lead, and maybe even more importantly, map control. And also the confidence you were talking about. With the vision being taken out by that Gem Night Stalker, already 1 ward has been taken off. XPC Romania won't be able to maintain vision, and with the vision, they've taken 1 or 2 bad fights, and without the vision, they're going to be paralyzed. The Clockwork can't make those jumps. The last 2 have been majorly unsuccessful. The Clockwork at one point was 4-1 and 4. The last 2 fights have netted him 1-2 and 1 as far as how his KD is affected. Although Clockwork's kind of expected to die, they're not getting anything else after that initial jump. The Wind Ranger and the Wraith King aren't in the right positions to defend, and it really does feel like Princess Jellopy are just playing this better, at least for the last 5 minutes of this game. XPC Romania have gotten a little complacent, going in for fights that they feel they can win, but they probably shouldn't be going into without the knowledge that of where the enemy heroes are, and now they have no way of obtaining that knowledge because of this Night Stalker. Although if they could kill Kefka, that would be amazing. There's no way you kill a Night Stalker at nighttime. He sees you well before you see him.
Yeah. So he's going to be able to spot out a lot of these XPC heroes, and they're just roaming around. Oh, Baby Knight, do you really want to be? They're going to try and fight him against Kino here, but he's taking a lot of damage. Requiem is going to be popped though, so Kino's going to have the damage reduction, and he looks like he might die here. So Kino wanting to commit onto Baby Knight, but unfortunately not able to get it. Kefka in the meantime actually getting picked off and dropping the gem. Solon as well as Baby Knight wants to commit to the Clockwork, but he's going to be able to try and TP out. There's nothing to cancel this. Oh, the damage is there with the razors as well. Nice play coming out from Princess Jellopy, whereas XPC not able to get anything aside from the Night Stalker. And does the gem get recovered? I didn't see.
Yes, by the Wraith King. Although the fight is technically in the favor of Princess Jellopy when it comes to the gold exchange, the advantage in gold is about as much as a gem. And the experience that they got will arguably tip that fight in their favor, but I think that gem pickup means so much more for XPC Romania than losing their Wind Ranger. Of course, you don't want to lose Wind Ranger there, but that was really well played by the Shadow Fiend. Baby Knight landing all of his raises, even if the Tusk didn't come in for the, I believe it was the Ice Shards to secure the kill, he probably would have gotten it. Just really good distance management coming out from Baby Knight. losing that gem is a big blow, but they still have map control, and they're still going to try to go for this fight. Shackle is not going to latch. Baby Knight's still taking a lot of damage with the mech, and with the Soul Rip, will survive. Jellopy's in the middle of it. They'll bring down the ultimate from the Wraith King, but can they kill him off? They buy back on the Tusk. Jellopy's going to take the Wraith Fire Blast. The Power Shot isn't there to follow him up, although there is going to be the Veil applied. The Jakiro throws all of his spells towards the north, and Jellopy's turning around fighting into this because he has the Aegis. Baby Knight still has his BKB activated, trying to run away from this. Power Shot is going to connect, although it isn't lethal. They'll lose their Undying. Now fighting against this Clockwork. Shackle latches on a Solon and Baby Knight. The Death Requiem will be enough to secure the kill. Double kill for Kefka, as now they chase forward for Keanu. The missile is lethal as Jellopy secures himself the mega kill. 2 for 3 is the exchange. It's not over yet. Kefka is going to try to dive, but unsuccessfully because of that concussive shot. And now Jellopy will look for the tier 2 tower. Princess Jellopy lose the Aegis, lose the Shadow Fiend, lose the Undying, but get 3 kills and a tower on top of it. The gold exchange, although not vastly in the favor, the tier 2 is what's really going to make that an attractive trade.
Yeah, I'm starting to sense a little bit of urgency in XPC's play now. They're trying to kill the Princess Jellopy heroes as quickly as possible, but unfortunately their damage isn't as good as it used to be. These heroes are dealing with, they're tanky now. They have armor, they do damage, they have BKBs. They're going to start getting evasion at some point, I presume, especially the Shadow Fiend should be looking into getting a butterfly at some point. Wind Ranger can't actually man-fight Jellopy anymore because there's a Monkey King bar as well, plus any sort of magical damage that Jellopy throws out as well. So XPC, unfortunately, they're starting to fall off, and unfortunately, if all their damage is going to be in a Wind Ranger, and you can also count Massacre in there, he's actually hitting for quite a bit, but he's just getting kited. Where's the damage going to come from aside from the Wind Ranger? The Skyrath Mage is doing quite a bit himself with the Mystic Flare, which is key, but he's only going to be able to throw 1 Mystic Flare out in a team fight, and a lot of the time it's not having the full duration being thrown out onto the target because he has to use it during the mid-fight. He can throw it into the target within the cogs, but typically you just want to pick him off with other skills to save the Mystic Flare for another situation. So
Mystic Flare doesn't really matter anymore, I want to say. Like,
yeah,
it combos nicely with...
It's 1k damage, so honestly, I think the only hero that's really going to be hurt by that is probably Tusk.
If they can actually get that 1k damage, though, because Tusk has a snowball defensively to get out of that unless he's silenced. If he's silenced, he's probably dead anyway. The Gyrocopter has a BKB, Shadow Fiend has a BKB, and Undying has the mechanism to sustain through. Nightstalker's naturally tanky, and the Skyrath Mage, in theory, that 1,000 damage could be good, but he's not able to stay alive inside these fights. He drops so quickly, even with the mechanism. Illusionist is right now the most contribution he has inside these fights is Ancient Seal, and then he'll try for the Mystic Flare, sure, but usually they're not held into it because of the match community on the heroes that are on the front line. So yeah, I think the focus is almost exclusively on the Wraith King Clockwork and the Wind Ranger and how they're able to approach these initiations. They have the Blink on the Wind Ranger and Blink on the Wraith King. These are items tailor-made for them to take the fights on their own terms, but it's not happening. At this point, it's 4k gold that isn't really working for them as hard as they needed it to.
Yeah, so with this T3, sorry, not T3, with the T2 being under siege, how does Princess Jellopy want to approach this? They're going to have Kefka constantly going through the tree line to spot these heroes out, but the Clockwork sees him as well. Hookshot, going to go right onto Beaver, and looks like they're going to commit onto the Undying here, but look at Kino, he just melts in the middle of the team fight anyway. Massacre are going to try and man fight this. Reincarnation is going to be there, but they're just going to commit onto all of these heroes, and XPC, they're just getting torn to pieces. It doesn't matter if you have damage, it doesn't matter if you can survive. How are you going to kill these heroes? I feel like their damage is capped out now. They can keep on progressing, but I don't think the Wind Ranger is going to cut it against the kind of draft that they're going up against. These are all tanky, strength and agility heroes. They're not fragile like some of the XPC heroes we see.
Oh, and like Illusionists. Speak of fragile heroes. That wasn't pretty.
Nope. And this is going to be an easy T3 tower in the process, plus Raxes.
Yeah.
There are buybacks on XPC, but it would honestly just be a waste. They may as well just give these Raxes away and hope that the T3 in the mid lane is going to be fine. Unless they want
XPC Romania. It feels like they're, as you said, just very anxious to get these initiations. If the Clockwork finds the hookshot and is able to get the kill immediately, they've been able to take the fights very convincingly as long as they have the vision, but they're fighting against a constant nighttime where Kefka is able to see everything on the battlefield. They get the Undying, sure, Shackle not gonna latch and Jellopy, but they're not able to get anything after that because they've committed so much of their initiation kit to jump onto what is just a support at this point. Undying's impact inside the fights is Although, I'm not going to say it's nil, it's a lot less than, like, the Gyrocopter that was left alone in the backlines to get full flat cannon shots with that Monkey King bar, or the Night Stalker roaming around and bashing people in, or the Shadow Fiend. That was just an awkward place for XPC to jump.
It really is. So, unfortunately, they get punished heavily. They lose their bottom set of Raxes, they lose one Rax in the mid lane. It was the melee as well, so it's going to sting a little bit more than just the range. It would have been a little bit worse, but honestly, what can XPC do there? They're trying to fight, but I don't think they have enough damage anymore. There's just too much armor, too much HP, and too much strength as well for them to really kill off any of these heroes efficiently. And they're going to try and go for another smoke. Now, this could be a 4v5 scenario, though. An Illusionist, yeah, I don't know if you're going to be there. He will get silenced up, and Kathy's going to be the first one to be targeted, but 4 staff out. Everyone just wants to retreat. They don't want to fight into this Illusionist to be the first one to blow up. Can they chase anyone else, though? 322 has an Aghanim Scepter, so he can just go for a hookshot onto someone if necessary. Actually going to miss this. Well, unfortunately, I don't think XPC is going to be there with the save. So, Clockwork gets taken down. Kino has to go for the win run, otherwise he gets caught out here. Blink is constantly being cancelled out because of the urn. Snowball won't catch up, but they're still slowing up Kino, so he may end up dying. Unless there's, oh my god, Jellopy, where the hell did he come from? Just came in from the mid lane, blows up the Wind Ranger, gonna jump right onto the Jakiro as well. Matsukuri gonna be slaughtered as well, but he's got the reincarnation, so the slow's gonna be there. Kino gonna try and kill Jellopy, but where's the damage? He's just hitting like a pea shooter. There's the GG call as well. Well, that performance by Princess Jellopy, the moment they get the BKBs, the game just changed.
It started out very good for XPC Romania, but there was, yeah, the BKBs, but I think the bigger thing, the Aghanim Scepter on the Night Stalker was what really won that game for Princess Jellopy. They're able to constantly deward on the map. XPC Romania had no idea what was happening inside those fights that they tried to initiate in the Clockwork, and I can understand their anxiousness to try to jump and try to get onto the enemy's side, but every time they did, Princess Jellopy knew everything, and I do mean everything. They saw every angle of initiation that they could have gone in for, and they have to commit so hard for these smaller support kills that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And Princess Jellopy, that was an impressive game. It felt like at a certain point about halfway through that game that they were losing control of it, but all it takes is a couple of botched team fights, and XPC Romania completely lose control. Princess Jellopy will find themselves now moving on in the GameShow Cup to group stage number 2 for the European division. We'll have to see how they mesh with the other teams that are already qualified for that, and who else will join them. And XPC Romania still have a shot. Let's see if they can battle it out. But right now we're going to go down to the next game, and it should prove to be a pretty good one. Grandis V and Danley coming back to you with more games from the GameShow Global Esports Cup in just a minute. See you then.